terrible, but just hard to see him winning first up against a sharp lineup, first up from a long break.
He's rising 6. He's had one run as a 5-year-old. I don't like him at all, Craig. I think it would be a miracle personally if he could win it, but I'm going to leave him alone. I don't see him doing any sort of damage here. Not for me.
Star Genius is the good-looking filly. The next one here pacifies tongue tie. Go on for the first time. Blinkers are off. Very smart horse. Good run behind Cyborg last time out. Good barrier trial recently. I think she's massive over the odds at 29.
Yeah, I think she's a lovely horse. She's got proven form, Craig. She's run some terrific races. She's a lovely filly too, and she's done a wonderful job for the Genius stable. Don't leave her out. She will be very competitive here. You can't fault her form. It's lovely. So include her, and I think she'll be right there.
Okay, so this is the running of race number 5. It's a graduation coming up over 1,200 metres. We're still 11 minutes away from start time, so the jockeys still having a word with their connections. Very soon they'll jump aboard. They jump aboard at the 10-minute mark here. You'll see or hear a gong in the background, a little bell ringing. There are the connections of Alibi. There's a stare back from a lengthy break, but yeah, just the one run as a 5-year-old last time. Actual fact, it would have been a 4-year-old right at the end of last year. So there's a stare, horse number 8. I'm going to go with the numbers of 2, 3, 1 and 4. I'd be surprised if one of the top 4 in the race card don't win the race. 2, 3, 1 and 4. Alibi, Star Genius, Coney Lad and Longhoo, my top 4.
All right, I'm going 2, 4, 1 and 3. 2, 4, 1 and 3 here. Craig, 2, Alibi, lovely horse. Expect him to win. From the 4, Longhoo, the 1, Coney Lad, and the 3, Star Genius. 2, 4, 1 and 3 as they head out for a highlight race on the card as we head upstairs to you, Matt. Potential stars, future stars here at the Turf Club, especially for next year's 4-year-old series. We could see a couple of these running there.
Well, you're really talking it up, aren't you?
I think it's a really good race, yeah.
Okay, I hadn't really thought about it, but I suppose. I mean, you've got these big raps on this Longhoo. He was a bit average last time, I thought. So, thanks for that, Gareth.
Sorry, I was just leaning over to get some water. What was that?
Well, I said Longhoo was a bit ordinary last time. What do you make of that? Like,
yeah, he took on a field of like hard-knocking handicappers, as I call them, and I think the 11 on the poly is not what he's looking for, personally.
He was beaten for pace in that 1,000-metre race, wasn't he, 2 starts ago, and he won it. I know it sort of sounds funny to say that, but he was off the bit completely up towards the turn, and then he really hit top gear. He's a funny one, isn't he, Longhoo?
Agreed, yeah. But I think he's got a bright future ahead of him, all going well.
Yeah, thanks for that. Well, gate number 1's going to suit him. He can have a nice economical run. I'm not going to go with him. I think a few of the others are a bit more proven at this sort of, you know, in a race like this. I'm happy enough to go with Star Genius. And I don't mind the fact she's just had 42 days off, so she's had a nice little break. Nothing wrong with her form at all. She's been with Mark Walker for a while now, and she's had a remarkable year, really. She's placed 7 of 8, and the only time she didn't figure, she was very awkward in a graduation, but no, she's been running well in graduations. But win over Urashima Taro, very good, sprinted away powerfully. The win over Liner back in March was powerful, but obviously this is a lot tougher. And then recently beaten by a whisker by Alibi, and then a third to Cyborg. So she sprinted home at 21.78 in that. She'll run the trip out very strongly. She was over 14 last time. And you know, you can make a case for Star Genius, but you can also make a case for a few of the others. But for what it's worth, I'll go 3 on top to beat number 2, Alibi. Very good. Obviously beat Star Genius 2 runs ago, and then beaten by the Evergreen Eye King last time by a short head. So he had some luck in a photo finish there 2 runs ago, and his luck ran out last time when he was beaten by Eye King. But good chance. As for Coney Lad, yeah, it was a very good performance, and the time was very good, 1:10.01. The only thing about it is that there's nothing wrong with his performance whatsoever, but the way the race was run, he had about 3 or 4 major, what's the right word, threats, I think, and they were about 6 lengths off him, and he ran a time 22.51 closing 400, which just made it impossible for the others to, I mean, there was no way they were ever going to run a 21.5, and they didn't run a 21.5. So that was the end for them. But Coney Ladd did nothing wrong. He went up on the pace, he ran smart time, and he sprinted home to 22.5. But I think it was just more of a case that the others were so far back, and mathematically they couldn't possibly catch him if he ran a good sectional, and he did. If he gets the same sort of run again, and the others are asked to run a low 22, he might just win again, Coney Ladd. But I'll put him in for third, and going for Long Hu, or Lung Hu as we're calling it, into a fourth. Falls away after that, only a small field, mind you. So I've gone with 3 to beat 2, 1 and 4. 3, 2, 1 and also 4. Bit of an ask, I think, for Lung Hu. If he wins this, he's obviously a very, very nice horse, but he's up against some pretty seasoned campaigners here, Alibi and Star Genius and Coney Ladd. So probably a bit of a test. We'll throw it in the deep end, I think, by stretch, and sink or swim. We'll see how he goes. Long Hu heading down towards the start. But he's a nice individual, and there's Heavenly Hand going down towards the gates as well. Just getting a little bit darker. I had a look on the radar, as we do, and there's some rain, but it's to the east of Singapore, and a little to the northeast as well. So there's a few heavy patches of rain, but I would estimate that that's still probably 20 kilometres away from where we are here, and it is getting a little darker, but I think better, because it was way too hot before. The sun was just you know, it was uncomfortable for all, and as you can see, a lot darker on screen now. Heading down towards the gates, Gareth and Craig siding with the 2. I'll go 3. Another vote for the 2 from one of our friends next door, and someone's going with a 1 as well. So really nice race. Been looking forward to this one for a while, and in about well, roughly 5 minutes time they'll be underway.
Yes, give or take. They'll be behind the gates very soon, and then they'll ring around for a little while, and we'll call them up. The race from Malaysia at Perak Turf Club in Ipoh has just been completed, so hopefully you've had a little bit of luck there in the first. Notice the riders at Malaysia wearing black armbands. Sad passing of apprentice rider W.T. Chung during the week. So there's Coney Ladd, Glenn Boss in the saddle. David Cox had a big 3 or 4 weeks, hasn't he, with his victories with Well Done in the Patrons Bowl and the Emirates Singapore Derby, capping off a memorable, well, 3-week period there with those 2 big races. But he'll be looking for another victory here with Coney Ladd, and Well Done. Well, the future looks very bright for that particular galloper.
He does. I bumped into David a bit earlier on, and he asked him if he's still on cloud 9. He said his feet haven't touched the ground, Craig, and apparently they had a nice get-together on Thursday afternoon at the yard, which the owner, Michael Rodd, and a couple of other people attended. And very happy with Well Done, and overjoyed with the fact that he has made a back-to-back Group 1 victories 3 weeks apart. And one thing I've got to say, the owner, a lovely touch from him, Craig. He got a $50,000 bonus, and he's given that to charity. That's a lovely touch, I thought.
Yes, that was terrific. So he picked up the bonus because he won, of course, the Patrons Bowl into the Derby. Wondering if he'll go towards the Chairman's Trophy. It has been a good race for horses that have run well in the Derby in the past. Chase Me won the Derby, and then went on to win the Chairman's Trophy at his next start. Step It Up was able to win the Chairman's Trophy last year. That race is coming up on the 7th of August, and will be run as a Singapore Group 2 $300,000 race over 1,800 metres on the turf. So it'll be our next feature race per se. I know we've got the KRA Trophy next week, but as an out-and-out feature race, the Chairman's Trophy will be the next, and then the Garden City Trophy will be coming up on the 21st of August. A race that's had a bit of a tradition with the running of the race back in 2010, sparking a lot of interest with Rocket Man winning that particular race going back to 2010. And there was a lot of money invested in that particular event. It's a good race, the Garden City Trophy. Emperor Max won it last year, Faultless in 2014, Trudeau in 2013, Mr. Big in 2012, and Better Be the One in 2011. So some terrific horses have won that, and even back to the start when it was actually known as the 4-year-old sprint. YB, one of our best sprinters in the the mid to late part of the 2000s, won it in 2007, Waikato in 2008, and Intini for Vlad Jurek, won it in 2009.
Makaya.
That's him. He was a good sprinter.
Yeah, a good fast bowler as well, was Intini. So that's that. Craig, are you venturing out here?
Yep. Going to have a look at this one from the front. Terrific race. Hopefully we'll get some words from the winning trainers.
In terms of pace in the race, Coney Ladd, what we've seen, I reckon he's going to go forward. That's his natural racing pattern. Alibi is going to stalk him. I just hope they don't serve it up to him and give him an easy lead. Expect Lunghu to be up there as well on pace. And Moonraker, although she went to the lead last time out, I don't see her leading this field. And from that wide draw, I'm expecting CC Wong to potentially slot her in midfield, but anything is possible. Her runs prior to that, she was never closer than third in the run. So it's Coney Ladd for me from Alibi, who's going to sit right there. Longhu, he's going to be stalking them. Star Genius, we know she gets back and she flies home the filly. That's her issue. She doesn't have natural gate speed. So with those pacifiers on, she's going to pop out, sit near last, I reckon, and hopefully flash home. There she is on screen. Astaire, he's shown pace in his trials and he's showed pace in his debut run, but it was just under a year ago, 352 days ago. Don't know what to expect from him here. I don't expect him to trouble the judge at all for the first 4 placings. So 7 runners. It's going to be compact. I think it all depends on what Coney Ladd's allowed to do up front. If he's allowed to dictate things at his own casual gallop, he'll pack too big a sprint for them. And Alibi, as he's shown, he finds the line well, but he doesn't have that brilliant turn of foot as a Coney Ladd does have. So I expect a bit of pressure to be applied by Vlad onto Glenn Boss. If he hands it to him, it's Coney Ladd's race for the taking, but expect the 2 and the 4 to be finding the line pretty well in race number 5, and a really nice race that potentially the form could work out to be very, very strong indeed. There's 7 runners to go in. The one's been backed into $11 now. The 2 Alibis at 15. The 3 Star Genius, she's at 19. And Longhu, he found support, but he's into 53 and he's been stable around there. It's 59 about the 7, 189 about the 6, and 374 about the 8. The 5s are scratching. It's a lovely graduation ahead of us. Really nice race. I think some of these are potential horses with big wins in their career path coming up in the next couple of months, so they're worth keeping an eye on. It's not long to go. We'll head upstairs shortly with 7 runners to load. Our favourite is that horse on screen there, Coney Ladd, David Coughlin Boss, the Fair Deal Middle Kingdom stable, and of course Premier Racing teaming up here with the son of Nikoni, who's done a fantastic job here at the Turf Club. He's won 2 of 3 and he's earned over $80,000. They're loading up at that 1200 metre marker to call them home for the 5th. It's Matt Jones.
Gareth, so they're getting set. A few people will be hoping your speed map's correct there with Moonraker not taking any part in the speed. But he led last time and won by 2 lengths. So Moonraker still away. Star Genius and Heavenly Hand to go forward. So he's drawn out fairly deep on Moonraker. It's at $60 and at 12. Coney Ladd's $11. Alibi is 15. Star Genius 18, and Lunghu's at 48 as we see Heavenly Hand go forward, and that's just about it. Only a very small field. Graduation all set. Race 5. And they're off to a good dispatch. Star Genius just had to be called upon to go up centre field, and Lunghu from the inside away really nicely leads from Coney Ladd, and Moonraker on the outside slowly working its way forward, being followed then by Astaire in the green going back. Star Genius fairly prominent, being followed further back behind those then by Alibi, who's back second last, and Heavenly Hand back in last. But Lunghu led over Moonraker, who's on the outside in second, about a length and a half. Coney Ladd, who just had an awkward moment there, and he lost some ground. He got the head up. Star Genius slips through near the inside. The filly, she's had a good run. Then Alibi, who looks to improve a spot or 2, being followed by Astaire, and then came Heavenly Hand as they bunch up. So Coney Ladd is about 3 and 4 deep. He's been a bit awkward over the last couple of furlongs, but he comes into it as they turn for home. 400 metres out, and Lunghu, he presses the button, goes for home. How much of a response? He's got Coney Ladd and Star Genius closing in stylishly. Then Moonraker, and now Alibi from the back of the field is winding up. Great finish. Lunghu's gone. Star Genius nips through the inside. Coney Ladd's in trouble, and it's Alibi and Star Genius fighting it out. They've done this before. Alibi and Star Genius. Last time it was Alibi who came out on top, and he's done it again. Alibi first, Star Genius second again. And behind those in turn, then Coney Ladd, who actually fought on fairly well, but just too much went wrong against some good opposition today. And then came Heavenly Hand Lung Hu, and further back behind those into Moonraker and also Astaire. What do they say? Deja vu. With these two horses, they've got a good rivalry, haven't they? Star Genius and Alibi, and last time they met, Alibi won by a short head, and he's probably won by a head this time. Well, got to give it to him. He got a long way back. There was pretty good pace. Lung Hu went forward. They were 110.65. Moonraker eventually sat second. Then Coney Ladd, who I don't think he was that comfortable. He was back fourth. Something seemed to happen to him. He got the head up. He just got a little bit sort of, razzled, and he lost his spot. Not too much, but he did lose a half to three quarters, and then around the turn again he was just a little bit awkward, but he loomed up. But against this opposition, and they were close to, Star Genius had a lovely run. No real excuses there. Beaten by Alibi, who's beaten it fair and square today, no doubt about that. And a great finish, 2-3-1, and also for Sir Mike Clements. Things going along pretty well for Mike Clements. 2-3-1 and 4 ahead by 1 3/4, 110.65. And it's Alibi first by Darcy Brahma at a bound to impress. Mike Clements, Vlad Jurek, raced by Alibi Stable, a 3-year-old Bay New Zealand bred colt. The colt getting the better of the filly by Starcraft. Star Genius out of a mare called Gibraltar Moon, Mark Walker and Manuel Nunes. So Manny missing out there, and number one Coney Ladd ran okay, but as I say, just a couple things went wrong. David Cock and also Glenn Boss. Well, we'll pick them up shortly as they turn for home, but he's a nice horse, this one, and that is Alibi. Mike Clements, well, he's got some nice horses in his stable. Star Genius nipped up near the inside there, Craig. Looked as though it might be able to beat Alibi, but as we've seen, history repeats itself with Alibi defeating Star Genius by a slender margin.
Yeah, we've got Michael Clements here. He's had a big afternoon with a couple of winners so far. Tough win there. You gave a bit of weight to Star Genius, who you had a battle with last time, and came out on top again.
Yeah, he's probably looking for a bit further, this horse, and so it was always going to be probably a bit on the short side today. And discussed with Vlad before the race that he'd have to give him some sort of chance and let him run home, and did a great job.
It was a good effort because there were some smart ones there that you were chasing, and he really put his head out and tried hard.
Yeah. Like I say, I thought we obviously feel he's a fairly classy horse, and felt that that's what's going to carry him through today. And as you say, a couple of smart types against him. Just
very quickly, Nai Chen Bay earlier on looks a lovely horse.
Yeah, he's a horse that's arrived here and just acclimatised fantastically well. He just loves the place. He's coped with the heat, absolutely no problem, hasn't put a foot wrong, and gone good in his trials. He'd had some good form in Australia before coming here. And yeah, he just loved the race today as well. He did it pretty easily, so that was good.
Couple of winners so far, and great day. Enjoy it. Well done.
Thanks so much.
Michael Clements with a couple of chances later on in the day as well, but a big contingent of owners. We saw that in the paddock. Gareth, there was a lot of owners down here, and they're pretty excited about Alibi, and why wouldn't you be? Another very good victory, and a good dividend there, $17 and $5.10.
Yeah, he's doing a few things wrong, running in and that, but it's just immaturity, Craig, and with that experience, I mean, look at that, hugs all around. Michael Clements, he's getting hugged, and a big band of owners here, which is fantastic to see at the Turf Club. But a lovely horse, Craig, that, he's got a lovely turn of foot of him. And on the strength of that victory, I think a couple more wins left in the tank.
Well, they're absolutely thrilled down here. They're excited. We'll get Vlad over in just a moment and get his opinion of Alibi, but he'd be pretty happy to be associated with it, no doubt. Having a look at trackers here, very competitive finish, and it was only the last 50 metres that the race was well and truly decided.
Indeed, Craig. So there we see on the inside Star Genius, the filly. She fights so hard, this mare, this filly, and although she hasn't won that many, what she won 2 out of 9 now, she really has a lovely turn of foot and that will to just fight on, and beaten by a nice horse here. So she's still doing well for the Genius stable. Very interested to hear what Vlad thinks of this guy, though.
Yep, he'll be back in just a moment, and we'll get a word with him. Concerning Alibi, a horse that he's had a very good association, been with Alibi right the way through. He's the only bloke who's ridden it, I think. And this time he gets in by a head. Strong will to win there, Vlad. You were chasing some nice horses and really knuckled down in the home stretch.
Yeah, he's a horse who shows above average ability. You could see when he got to the front, he got the wobbles a little bit in the straight. So, you know, those little things will iron out with racing. And but Mike's done a great job with him. He just gave him a little freshen up before today. And I galloped him the other morning. He just worked like a much more relaxed horse. And I said to Mike, when we drew 5 and there was a bit of speed in the race, I said there's probably an opportunity just to ride him in behind and educate him further, because I think he's a horse who, you know, might progress nicely in the 4-year-old series next year. So it's just a bit of a stepping stone to get him there. And he's a horse that I'm a little bit excited about. You know, he's a nice horse. 1,400
metres today. Mike was of the opinion he'll go a little bit further.
Oh, he will. And on today's, so the way he handled himself, he'd definitely go a mile. And then beyond that, you know, who knows. But he's heading in the right direction.
Okay, good win. Well done.
Thank you.
Glad Jerick, the winning rider here, 2, 3, 1 and 4 ahead. The winning margin. Alibi wins again.
To a good dispatch. Star Genius just had to be called upon to go up centre field, and Lung Hu from the inside away really nicely leads from Coney Lad, and Moonraker on the outside slowly working its way forward, being followed then by a Stare in the green going back. Star Genius fairly prominent, being followed further back behind those then by Alibi, who's back second last, and Heavenly Hand back in last. But Lung Hu led over Moonraker, who's on the outside in second, about a length and a half. Coney Lad, who just had an awkward moment there and he lost some ground. He got the head up. Star Genius slips through near the inside. The filly, she's had a good run. Then Alibi, who looks to improve a spot or two, being followed by a Stare, and then came Heavenly Hand as they bunch up. So Coney Lad is about 3 and 4 deep. He's been a bit awkward over the last couple of furlongs, but he comes into it as they turn for home, 400 metres out. And Lung Hu, he presses the button, goes for home. How much of a response? He's got Coney Lad and Star Genius closing in stylishly. Then Moonraker, and now Alibi from the back of the field is winding up. Great finish. Lung Hu's gone. Star Genius nips through the inside. Coney Lad's in trouble, and it's Alibi and Star Genius fighting it out. They've done this before. Alibi and Star Genius. Last time it was Alibi who came out on top, and he's done it again. Alibi first, Star Genius second again. And behind those in turn then Coney Lad, who actually fought on fairly well, but just too much went wrong against some good opposition today. And then came Heavenly Hand, Lung Hu, and further back behind those then to Moonraker and also a Stare.
All right, that's that. What a victory by this horse. Really nice individual. Well done to Michael Clements and his team. 2, 3, 1, 4 and 7. And of course, Alibi, the horse